Welcome everybody to this video. We are going to be talking about risk management today. This is by far the most important element in trading. Nothing else matters as much as risk management does. Your trading strategy, your trading plan, none of that matters unless you have proper risk management. So in this video, I want to teach you how to never blow another account, and let's dive right into it. So risk management in trading is just a skill of protecting your capital so that you can stay in the game long enough to win. It means controlling how much you risk per trade, using proper position sizing, and accepting small losses to avoid devastating ones. Successful traders don't focus on being right every time. They focus on making sure no single loss can significantly damage their account. Strong risk management ensures consistency, emotional control, and long-term profitability. Right? This is going to give you that peace of mind in the market. Right? It's going to allow you to not make errors, to not revenge trade, to not be greedy, to not be emotional and go on tilt. Risk management will not make you rich fast, but it will keep you in the game. And that is what trading is all about. It's a survival game. It's about who can survive the longest to make profit. So the next thing we're going to talk about is your risk settings, right? You want to have certain rules in place for you every single day, right? Every single trade you take, you should have and know exactly how much you're going to risk. It should never be a random outcome, right? So your max risk per trade should always be anywhere from 0.5% to 1% per trade. If you're a beginner, I would say it's a good habit to start with at least 0.5%, so you can start getting comfortable with putting risk on. A lot of people who never traded before in their life, especially, are not comfortable with any risk at all, yet alone seeing any type of, dollar amount loss is going to drive people insane. So if you're newer to trading, you're more of a beginner, start with a little bit less risk, get comfortable with that as you gain experience and you build that risk appetite. And then you're able to see the data, see your edge working out, your strategy, your model working out over time. Then, you can allow yourself to put on a little bit more risk. So you always want to do at least 0.5% to 1% per trade. For 50K accounts is the ones I recommend for newer traders. Honestly, the easiest accounts to pass and trade with. It should only be risking anywhere from $250 to $500. This is more for your funded account when you're actually already past the eval. For evaluations, you can definitely size up a little bit more. $500, maybe a little bit more, but because with evals, how we treat those differently. Well, we're gonna make a whole nother video just about passing, funded accounts. But let's just continue. So 50Ks, 250 to 500, 100Ks, 500 to 750, 150K, 750 to 1500. And then your max risk per day should always be, no more than 1% per day. Now, this is going to allow you to have at least 2 trades per day. A good rule of thumb should be if you win your first trade of the day, walk away. I always like to do that. If it's a quick day, I'm in and out, I'm done. Imagine how long most people work for the amount of money that you can make within minutes, literally, and your first dub, just walk away. And if you happen to lose 2 trades, call it a day, right? End it right there. Do not put more risk. That's only going to lead you to spiral down and make mistakes. So you can't win if you don't play, but if you bet too much, you do not get to play, right? A lot of people they go to casinos know the saying the house always wins, right? You want to keep them playing, right? The more exposure that you have in the casino, gambling, right? Even in trading, the more exposure, the more trades you take, eventually you might actually end up with a loss. So it's better to take what the market gives you and just walk away, come back tomorrow. And the next thing we're going to talk about are risk protocols. Okay, what do we do, right? If this happens, then we do this. After a losing trade, after a winning trade, after a break even trade, no matter the outcome, you always want to be prepared. So after a losing trade, instead of sizing up, most people are going to make that mistake of sizing up to make back the loss and some, right? You want to actually cut your position in half after a loss until you get back to break even. That's probably the best thing you can do is so you don't put any more risk, onto your account. you can actually cut your size in half until you get back to break even, and then go back to the normal risk. After a winning trade, either be done for the day, which I highly recommend, or if you are in a flow state and you feel like there's some good setups, you see another really solid A plus setup, okay, go ahead and only risk 50% of your winning trades profit, right? This way you're still walking away with some profit today, even if that trade does not end up working out in your favor. You're still taking some profit home. And if you get hit break even, on a trade or two, you're still in the game. It does not really count towards your position size. The only thing I would say is just keep your emotions in check, keep your psychology in check. Do not let them go until after a break even trade, especially if that trade ran into profit and it came all the way back to stop your break even. That could be very frustrating. And I understand that sometimes you want a revenge trade and sometimes you want to get back in right away. Instead, just be patient, wait for the next A plus setup. No trade, right? Having no risk is also a trade as well. Traders do not get paid for their time. We get paid for our decision making. So that's pretty much everything when it comes to this video today. We're talking about risk. This is by far one of the most important, if not the most important principle in trading. If you can really dial in on this, master this, everything else is going to be a lot easier for you. I'm going to be uploading videos like this, giving you guys value. I'm going to be doing trade recaps. I'm going to be doing a lot of more stuff here on YouTube to give you guys as much value as possible. So definitely stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.